Hey everyone, and welcome. If you've ever watched those really captivating tabletop role-playing game sessions online and thought, wow, I'd love to create something like that for my friends, then you've come to the right place. Whether you're excited about diving into the world of Dungeons and Dragons as a dungeon master or exploring another fantastic system as a game master, taking that first step can feel like a big undertaking. But I promise you, it's totally achievable and it's incredibly rewarding. Now, let's be real for a second here. Your first time running a game isn't about instantly becoming some renowned professional level storyteller, crafting some mind-blowing, intricately plotted campaign. Not right from the start. It's really just about getting together around a table, whether that's in person or virtually, with your friends, your family, having a blast telling a story together. The truth is, many of the most beloved game masters out there are simply passionate individuals who love sharing these games with others. So to help you get started on your own DMing journey, I've learned a few key things over the years, and they boil down to 5 simple rules that can make a huge difference for anyone taking on the role of GM for the first time. Okay, so let's start with rule number 1. You need to know the rules and know your adventure. When you're getting ready to run your first game, it's really important that you get at least a somewhat familiar with the basic mechanics of the game system that you've chosen. Think about it this way. Your players are going to want to do things. They're going to want their characters to move around, to try and attack a monster, to talk to other characters, and maybe try and disarm a trap. Understanding the fundamental ways the game handles those kinds of actions is really the key. You'll find all this information in a core rulebook for your game. For example, if you're playing D&D, you'll want to have a good grasp of how attack rolls work, how saving throws function, and the basics of skill checks. You don't have to have every single spell memorized or know all the stats for every monster, but having a decent handle on those core systems will give you a lot more confidence when you're actually running the game. And there's something else that's really important. Once you've chosen an adventure that you're going to use, whether it's a pre-made adventure or something you've created yourself, it's really worth reading through a couple of times before you play. This will help you get a solid feel for the overall flow of the story, the important non-player characters, and any potential challenges that your players might encounter. It's also a really good idea, especially in D&D, to skim through the Dungeon Master's Guide. Now, you don't need to read it cover to cover or memorize it, but knowing where to find information on things like different environmental effects or monster abilities can be really helpful if you need to look something up quickly during your game session. Now, if you're planning on starting with D&D, I really strongly recommend checking out the D&D starter set. Dragons of Stormwreck Isle is a really good one, or just the D&D Essentials Kit. Now, you can find them at most game stores or online retailers, and they're excellent because they provide a simplified version of the D&D rules, and they include really well-designed introductory adventures that basically guide you through the game as you play. All right, let's move on to rule number 2. Keep it simple. When you're running your very first game, you really want to avoid the temptation to create some spiraling epic saga with tons of complex plot lines and a huge cast of characters. A straightforward scenario with clear and achievable goals for your players is going to be much, much easier for you to manage as the game master. And it's also going to be more satisfying for everyone at the table, especially when they're all still learning the ropes. So instead of trying to come up with some massive world-ending threat, think about a basic problem that needs to be solved. For example, you could start your adventure with the players meeting Farmer McGregor, who's in a state of distress because goblins have been raiding his farm and stole his prize chickens. He desperately needs the players to go deal with the goblins and get his chickens back. That's a clear and simple objective that's easy for everyone to understand. And this kind of setup requires much less intricate planning on your part. Fewer non-player characters for you to keep track of, and it makes it much easier for new players to grasp what they're supposed to do. If you're looking for resources, websites like DriveThruRPG and the DM's Guild, which are fantastic resources, especially for D&D, they offer a wide variety of inexpensive and beginner-friendly one-shot adventures. And you can find them just by searching for introductory RPG adventure or, my favorite, level 1 one-shots. Okay, rule number 3, and this is all about working together with your players. I call it yes, and. It's really important to remember that as the DM, you're the one who describes the game world and presents the challenges, but the players are the ones who get to decide what their characters actually do within that world. So you've got to be prepared for them to surprise you and to go in directions that you never saw coming. This is truly where the magic of tabletop role-playing games happens. Instead of simply shutting them down, try to embrace them and build upon them. For instance, imagine your players are facing those goblins again. And instead of just attacking them, one of the players decides to try and convince the goblin to join their party. Instead of saying, no, that's ridiculous, try using yes and. Something like, yes, you start trying to persuade the goblin to join you, and it stops its aggressive stance, tilting its head in obvious confusion, but seeming intrigued by your offer. Now, this acknowledges what the player wanted to do and introduces a consequence or development that builds on their action. I'll also be posting some other videos in the future with more tips and tricks on improv and how to think on your feet as game masters, so definitely stay tuned for those. I also recommend you check out other videos on GM improvisation. There's other YouTube creators out there like Matt Colville's MCDM or the Dungeon Dudes have excellent videos on this topic. Number 4 is about being efficient and taking advantage of the resources that are already available to you. Use what's there. Seriously, don't feel like you have to invent every single monster, every single town, every single plot twist, all from scratch for your very first game. There's an incredible wealth of pre-made adventures, scenarios, maps, NPCs, and all sorts of other helpful resources out there for pretty much every tabletop role-playing game you can think of. Using these resources will save you a huge amount of prep time, and they really will provide you with a solid foundation to build on. These materials are often created by experienced game designers, and they can really help you get a good feel for how a well-structured adventure is put together. So before you spend hours trying to come up with the perfect villain or the most intricate dungeon, take a look at what's already been created. Now, you can find resources for this at different online marketplaces like the DM's Guild. I love TTRPG, especially if you're doing things other than D&D. And obviously go to the website for publishers. If you're using a particular system, check out their website. They will usually have something. D&D has a starter set, which is called The Lost Mine of Phandelver, and that's widely considered an excellent starting point for new DMs. And I cannot recommend the D&D Adventure Club enough. It's a subscription service that offers a simplified rule set that's very easy to learn, provides with high-quality, pre-made adventures, and the materials are really, really well designed and fun. The simpler system makes it really easy to DM it, and honestly, me and my kids love it. And finally, rule number 5, which is absolutely crucial for getting your game off to a really good start. Talk first. Before you even roll a single die, it is incredibly important to have a conversation with your group about what kind of game they're expecting, what kind of tone they're interested in. For example, are they looking for a lighthearted and silly game or something more serious and dramatic? And if there's any topics or themes that they'd prefer to avoid. This game discussion is often called Session 0, and it's so valuable. It makes absolutely sure that everyone is on the same page and comfortable with what's going to happen during the game, and it helps to prevent any potential discomfort or misunderstandings. It also gives you, as the DM, some really important insights into what your players enjoy and what they're hoping to get out of the experience. You can also use this time to have a quick chat about character concepts, just to make sure the characters will fit well together in the story you're planning to tell. For some really helpful resources here, search online for a Session 0 checklist or an RPG safety tools. A lot of different blogs offer guides and tools to help set clear expectations and create a safe and fun gaming environment for everybody at the table. So there you have it. 5 simple rules with some concrete examples and specific resources to help you confidently run your first tabletop role-playing game. Just remember, the most important thing is that everyone has fun and that you all get to create a memorable story together. Now, if you found these rules helpful, please give this video a like and subscribe for more TTRPG tips and advice. In the description below, you'll find links to some of the resources I mentioned, including the D&D Adventure Club, which I love, and other helpful starting points. Now go forth, brave game masters, gather your players, and let the adventure begin.